We've been playing it, and here is an updated branded Albaz deck profile. The Cardinal King welcoming you into the King's Court, and I've got a bit of an update on my branded Despia deck, so let's get right into it. So we are running these Albaz cards, so 2 Fallen of Albaz, 3 branded fusions, 3 branded openings, 2 branded and reds, and 1 branded lost. Then for the Despia section of the deck, we are running 3 Albaz, 3 Despian Tragedies, a Foolish Burial, a Gold Sark, a Dramaturge, and an Ad Libitum. Then for the hand traps, we are running the Ash Blossom and Joyous Spring ×2, 2 Effect Veilers, 2 Ghost Spells in the Haunted Mansions, 2 Ghost Ogres in the Snow Rabbit, 2 Infinite Imperms, 3 Crossout Designators, and a Call by the Grave. Next up, we're running just these guys as kind of one episode of the deck. So we're running Super Poly at 3. We're running a Shadal Beast, and we're running an Incredible Ecclesia the Virtuous. Now, as for our extra deck, we are running the Mirror Jade ×2. We're running 2 Lubellians, 2 Albions, 1 Albal the Abyss Dragon, 1 Masquerade, 1 Quirites, 1 Guardian Chimera, 1 Shadal Winda, 1 Starving Venom Fusion Dragon, 1 Predator Plant Dragos Sepelia, 1 Triforvertum, and 1 Mud Dragon of the Swamp. So what is different here from last time is that we have the 2 Ash Blossoms now, right? And we've added the branded Lost. Let's see where that goes. Here we go. So, branded Lost helps a lot with the consistency. It gives you a free pull for either a branded fusion or a branded in red or a Incredible Ecclesia, which is always great to have that advantage, right? And it makes it so that your opponent can't negate your summons or do anything once your special summon monster hits the field. I'm going to kind of run through the deck. If you guys saw the last video, you've already heard this kind of spiel, but if you haven't, welcome, and here's what this deck does. So the Fallen of Albazes are basically super polys. You discard 1 and you can fuse with a monster on your opponent's side of the field. The Branded Fusion is one of the main cards in the deck. So this bad boy lets you fuse with monsters inside of your deck, which is incredibly broken, right? So we're running 3 of these. The Branded Opening is basically a searcher card for the Aluber, which is the kind of heart and soul of the deck. You want the Aluber, you always want to open an Aluber, so this guy's just kind of making sure you open them, right? 2 Branded in Reds. This is a fusion card that we can use during our opponent's turn. We're usually turn 1 using it to turbo out the Guardian Chimera. You don't have to, but that's typically the best way of using them, right? And the Branded Lost, like I said earlier, is so that your opponent can't negate your fusion summoning effects, and they can't negate the fusion summon. Alright, so as I said before, we want the Aluber, right, every single turn, because this guy lets us grab a branded spell or trap card so we can target either the branded fusion, if we don't have one already in our hand, and if we do, we can target the branded in red, or the branded lost. Really depends on what we have in our hand, right? Then we've got the Despian Tragedy. This guy searches out any Despia card, well, Despia monster from the deck when we either send him to the graveyard or send him out of play. So that is why we're running the Foolish Burial and the Gold Sark. These guys are 1-card starters just to get the Tragedy in the graveyard or out of play, and that helps us get the Aluber. And if we started with an Eluber, then we're going to search out these one-ofs, right? The Dramaturge and the Ad libitum. The Dramaturge is super powerful. When you fuse with him, you can bring him back from out of play or the graveyard. And when he's out on the field, he can negate the effect of one monster whenever your opponent summons anything from the extra deck. The Ad libitum lets you grab any out of play level 8 or higher fusion or Despia card. So if it's out of play or in the graveyard, if you fuse with this guy, you can grab that card back onto your field. We are running a ton of hand traps. I think this is what, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. Because when we do the Guardian Chimera, we typically draw 2, and we want to draw hand traps to keep the opponent from playing anything, right? I'm thinking that the Ghost Ogre, and maybe the Ghost Spell's a little less relevant now with DPE gone. But I might want to swap those out with DD Crows because people are really using that card this format. Yeah, other than that, this stays the same. Obviously, if you play this deck, you can play however many hand traps you want, however little hand traps you want. Yep, and then the Super Polys, just in there because we have a lot of Super Poly target cards. The Shadal Beast is in there because we want to... I usually do the branded fusion with the Shadal Beast so we can draw 1 and then chain block for the Lubellion. And if we know that they're playing a deck that has, it's a combo deck, we can summon the Shadal Winda too off of the Lubellion's effect. So yeah, good card, great discard fodder. Incredible Ecclesia is kind of the same thing. She's kind of discard fodder, but if we open her, we can special summon her, normal summon her onto the field, and that can give us an Albion or an Albaz. No, not Albaz. This guy. Yeah, Albaz on the opponent's turn. So they have to be very careful with what they play when we have this card out, right? And these guys should all be pretty self-explanatory. The Mirror Jade is the boss monster. He's basically a Raigeki, and he also removes a card from play. The Lubellion is great because he returns cards. We can use materials from either out of play or in the graveyard to fusion summon something. And then he returns those to the deck. So this guy's a great recycler. Albion's kind of the opposite. He banishes cards from the graveyard or field out of play to summon. Alba Lenatus is like a good for the mirror match. So he's great for using the Albaz as a contact fusion. Yeah. And he also lets you grab any... See, if this card is in the graveyard because it was sent there this turn, you can add a polymerization normal trap or a fusion normal spell from the deck to your hand. So you can grab the branded fusion. If you're playing a DPE deck, you can grab the Destiny fusion. If you're playing the Dragoon deck, you can grab the Red Eyes fusion. So a lot of possibilities with this card. The Masquerade, you guys know what it is. He's basically a chain energy. I wish I had 2. It would be awesome. I would run 2. So you make sure your opponent pays 600 whenever he does an effect. If you're running 2, they pay 1,200. The Querits is kind of here for the mirror match. When he leaves the field, he grabs 1 card from your deck into the field, and it's either a Fallen of Albaz or a Despia monster. So say you're in a mirror match and they super poly you can just summon your Fallen of Albaz and super poly them back. He also can make during the main phase he can make it so that everything that isn't a level 8 or higher fusion becomes 0 attack. Guardian Chimera is kind of the star of the show. He's got an impressive effect. You have to fuse with him. It has to be cards from the hand and the field. Can't be one or the other, hand or field, and you get to do things depending on how many materials were from each one of those sides. Shadal Winda, you know what this thing is. Great Floodgate. Sometimes it's worth it just to summon her on the first turn instead of the Mirror Jade. So it's always a good consideration.
The Starving Venom is a super poly target. Same with the Dragostapelia. Very, very, very useful card. When I went to regionals, I got this. I played this card almost every single game. So great card. The Triforbitum is, wow, if you super poly someone when they have 3 darks on the field, forget it. They almost insta scoop. And the Mudrug is not super hot, not the best card on the planet, but comes in clutch sometimes, right? So now I want to talk about the side deck. So YCS was this weekend, and a Sky Striker deck won with Mystic Mine in it. So that has me rethinking some of my options here. I'm probably going to add 2 Twin Twisters to this thing. But yeah, we've got the Dark Ruler No More at 3. We've got Cyframe Gear Gamma with 1 Cyframe Driver. So that's if we're going second. We side that in. We take out the Ghost Girls. We've got 3 Nibiru's. I'm probably going to reduce this to 2 just so I can add another back row destruction card, and we'll talk about that in a second. And we've got 3 D-Barriers. This card is absolutely busted, guys. I mean, stops a lot of decks dead in their tracks. We added the Harpy's Feather Duster because of that YCS top that had the Mystic Mine, and in fact a lot of the top decks in that tournament had Mystic Mine, so we're going to start seeing Mystic Mine all over the place now. And then we've got the Necroworld Banshee and Zombie World for the Flunderies matchup. A lot of people, I saw that a lot of people have been citing this guy at like 3 each, which I don't think you need to, because you can send the Banshee with Branded Fusion from your deck to the graveyard, and as soon as it hits the graveyard, you can grab the Zombie World off of it. So there's no need to play it at more than 1. And yeah, guys, that is the deck profile. Let me know if you're running this deck. Let me know how you're running it. I've heard a lot of Branded Despia decks run at like 45, 46, but I'm running at a cool 40, and I feel like it has a lot of consistency, especially with the amount of hand traps there. So whenever I resolve into that Guardian Chimera, I can always, make sure I have a couple of hand traps in my hand so that the opponent can't really play anything. I'm shutting them down, right? All right, guys, don't forget to do all that goofy stuff YouTubers ask you to do. Like, comment, and subscribe. And if you don't smash the like button, I'll smash you. Capiche? This has been the Cardinal King. Out.